30 minutes or something like that. Oh, shit, we're live.
What up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Easy. You are watching the Speak Easy podcast, and today I'm joined by my man Bravo and Pistons Talk. What up, though, fellas? We got some comments already. Yes, what's up? What up, though, Dr. Detroit?
What's up, everyone? We're gonna talk about the Detroit Pistons today. We're gonna talk a few things. Please take a minute to hit the like button. It only takes 2 seconds of your time. Hit the like button, please, and watch the show. We're gonna talk interesting topics because I'm reading the red hot Detroit Pistons today, baby.
I see that. You took a break in the action. Go put that one on real quick.
Yeah.
Swagging out the booth.
Yeah, I swear, man, those bots dislike so damn fast. Like,
I saw that too, real quick. Speak Easy, what to do, my guy?
I'm still waiting on the invite though. Huh.
That's my man, Cody Cruz. Oh, you know what? He's got to text me so I could text him for him. Anyway, back to the regular scheduled program. What up to everybody, and thank you for joining. I'm joined by Pistons Talk and obviously Bravo. Some trade rumors today. I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily trade rumors or not, but Blake Griffin and the Pistons looks like they've come to agreement to part ways, and therefore, you know, it was let to the news sources that he's sitting out until an agreement's reached between another team or possibly buyout. What are your expectations for that one? I'll start with you, Anthony. You expect a trade to be made for Blake Griffin, or you think it's a situation where he gets bought out?
I think they'll see the trade market first, and if they like to trade, they'll pull the trigger. But they're probably going to get garbage offers personally. Yeah, I think the most you could probably get for him is probably a salary that's similar and maybe second round pick. Like, I don't know, just off the top of my head, maybe Al Horford in the second round pick comes to mind, like something like that. But personally, I think you're not going to get a whole lot for Blake Griffin. I think a buyout market is more realistic, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of type of buyout market Blake does if he wants to give some money back to the Pistons. I know Bobby Marks mentioned even if Blake gave the Pistons $10 million back, we'd still be in a huge cap hole just with him. But I think Pistons fans are going to be excited because you're going to see more minutes from Sadiq Bay and more minutes for Sekou and Buyout. Now, I think that's what fans are really going to be excited about. I don't even think they're going to give two shits about if Blake gets traded or a buyout market. It's just all about the youth movement right now, and I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah. Bravo, what do you think it's going to be a buyout, or do you think there's a team that actually wants Blake Griffin and his services this year?
It's really hard to predict, but I probably think it's going to be likely a buyout because no team would want to take on this contract. I mean, it's really hard at this point. First of all, I just want to say it's really sad to see Blake Griffin doing what he is. He's completely declined to this level. And when beginning of the season on the DSA Sports Channel, I mentioned that Blake is going to be, what is the average Blake? I said, I was joking. I wasn't really sure 100%.
I said 10 points.
Yeah, you said 10 points. Not far off. I think so I'm looking right now. He's averaging 12.3.
Yeah, I said 10 points, and I said maybe 10 to 15 points a game. And I was close. I'm close. Hey, he's not really playing because the way I saw him in the off season, he wasn't really moving the same way. And it's really sad to see him declining like that. He's a 6-time All-Star player, and you'd love to see a guy like him performing well. But I think it has to happen. He's really contributing to the losses of the Detroit Pistons this year. We're not performing well thanks to Blake, I think. I'm not blaming him personally, but I think it's part of the problem because we're not playing the young guys. We're not playing Sadiq Bay enough minutes. We're not playing Sekou Doumbouya enough minutes. We're not even playing these kind of forwards position. And a lot of young guys are losing their time to develop, and that's time is money in the NBA sometimes. You have to make a decision on him, and I kind of think it's probably the best way to mutually discuss with Blake the possibility of buying out or maybe considering trade partners. I don't know if it's going to be trade partners, but possibly of buying out is more than possible because here's what happens. If you sit Blake on purpose for this year, and he's not going to be happy next year. He's not going to sit automatically on the bench next year and accept his contract. He's not going to do that. He's probably opt out of this contract and he's probably going to go somewhere else. That's what he's going to do. Because I don't think you will hurt a lot of players by not playing them in the season. So I don't think he would want to do that. I know the money is important, is a huge deal of the problem, but you can actually hurt Blake by not playing him too. So he wants to play and he wants to compete. He wants to go back to his level. I think he's got a chance, but I don't know how much he's gotten a chance. So I think it's a good move from the Detroit because it starts by doing that purpose, that move.
Yeah, it's something that has to happen at this point, especially you see that this weekend, us grabbing some W's without him on the floor and looking, being just as productive, if not more productive, without him. It's kind of weird to see because I'm thinking, like if we don't want to get completely screwed into paying him for nothing, which I hate the buyout option personally. Like I would love to find a trade just because maybe there's some assets in it. Maybe if they give away a second round to get rid of him, but I just hate to give him away. Just have to pay him for literally nothing, and then it's just a weird situation. Do you think if obviously he gets bought out, well, most likely he's gonna get bought out, but you resign somewhere, is he coming off the bench? And then there's a reason why he doesn't come off the bench for us, just because of like his status or in his name or something. Like why isn't that something we can make work here? Him off the bench.
I don't even know if a contender would take him right now. Personally, I mean, some people may think I'm crazy, but Blake Ball is the only way he knows how to play. I don't really know if you want to just make him a glorified Kevin Love and just have him stretch out the floor. But I mean, I think that's the only option he would actually have for a contending team is you take that Chris Bosh role, you take that Kevin Love role, and just, grab some rebounds, try to play defense on one good knee, because we both know that he doesn't have any mobility in that knee because he's had 2 surgeries in 2 years. Personally, like someone mentioned Otto Porter Jr., that would be such a great trade for the Pistons because Otto Porter is on the last year of his deal. If Chicago's stupid enough to make that deal, pull the trigger, pull the clip like Troy Weaver says. I'm going to empty my clip. Empty your clip on Otto Porter Jr. Like straight up, like that's an expiring deal that I'm sure Troy Weaver would probably personally go to Chicago and drive Otto Porter back to Detroit.
Yeah, I don't even think that they do that because for Chicago, that's the deal that they're looking to get off their books too. It's equally as beneficial to them as it is to us. It's like, why would they take on it? $38 million. You said something interesting, Anthony, earlier. You said that we may only have to pay him half of that salary.
Yeah. So with buyouts, you don't necessarily have to pay him as much. So you'd only have to pay 50% of his combined $75 million salary that he's owed. But that's still a shit ton of money. I don't know if you swear on your podcast. Sorry about that,
man. Yeah, porn stars on it, man. It's all full goal here, man.
But I mean, like so many people are speculating of what type of buyout it is, because we saw this summer Troy Weaver, signed people and then he waived them. Like, I think Dwayne Dedman was one. Zaire Smith was another one. I think even Tony Bradley was one, if memory does serve correctly. We might have traded him. I'm not 100% sure, but I mean, just having that much dead cap isn't not a good sign if you're the Detroit Pistons, because you're going to have to be even smarter with your money now. You have to get good value signings. Like, you're going to have to get a bunch of like Jahlil Okafors on vets minimums just to be smart with your money, because, that's a lot of dead cap.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, speaking of veteran minimums too, I'm hearing Wayne Ellington may be on the trade block too.
He is. He is definitely on the trade block for multiple people. What's it?
No, I was gonna say, what a win for the Pistons, because again, that's a guy we signed on that veterans minimum deal. He's been able to be productive enough for us to maybe get him off for like a piece that contribute to the future. I
mean, bare minimum, you can get a second round pick for him right now. I mean, championship level team, like I'm calling the Los Angeles Lakers. You need some 3-point shooting? Give us a second round pick. He's yours. LeBron loves 3-point shooters like him.
There's one other person. Oh, go ahead. I apologize, man.
Honestly, especially with AD going down, he's going to be out 2 to 3 weeks with the calf strain. So you never know.
Yeah, I saw that. Is it Achilles or his calf?
It was his calf strain. I have him in fantasy, so I was just like, man, I swear to God, if that's an Achilles, I will be so damn pissed. But it was a calf strain, so he's going to be out for a couple weeks.
I wouldn't be surprised, man. That's the one thing with AD that, like, I mean, obviously he's supremely talented, but he just can't seem to stay on the floor for like a whole season. Even almost to the finals last year, he was almost like he's limping there at the end.
Yeah, it seems like every time I take him in fantasy, he gets hurt. The 1 year I didn't take him in fantasy, he played the whole season. This year I take him in fantasy, he gets hurt. I think I'm just a curse with him, honestly. DeLon to Philly by the deadline.
Bravo, would you rather keep him, DeLon Wright, or not DeLon Wright, but Wayne Ellington, or are you cool with getting rid of him?
Oh man, I love this shooting streak in the past few games. I actually wanted to keep him, but the way the Pistons are moving, we gotta have to make something in return. So take advantage of the opportunity, and if you get something in return for him, I don't think we're gonna get a pick. We're probably gonna get a young player, maybe who is the team like giving up on them, like they could kind of like maybe someone like Zvi, maybe, or maybe someone like Dennis Smith Jr. He's not even getting minutes. So that's
Jarrett Culver.
No, you're not gonna get Jared Culver. No,
You think they're giving up on him this early?
I mean, they got Anthony Edwards and Malik Beasley above him. I mean, I made a video about it. I mean, that was a high lottery pick too. He was 6th, I believe, by the Hawks, and then Minnesota took him. I mean, that's a two-way wing I take a chance on personally.
Hell yeah, I liked him a lot in the tournament that year before he came out. He really impressed me. One more guy that's on the trade block that I personally don't want to get rid of. There's talks of Philly reaching out for DeLon Wright. Is that a piece you'd rather keep heading into next season, or is that another piece you're looking to sell off? Because I think he can be productive off the bench next year for us.
I would sell high right now.
For real?
I would sell high. I mean, DeLon Wright is probably the main reason why we have so many wins. Like last night, 17, 7, and 6. Over his past 4 games, it's like 17 and 7 assists. I mean, like he's just a flat out hooper. Like I think that was probably one of Troy Weaver's best trades, trading Trevor Ariza for DeLon Wright. Like that was just a home run trade. I think Troy Weaver could definitely sell high on a team that needs a point guard, definitely like Philly, because I want to say Shake Milton is their point guard. I don't watch a ton of Philly games, but DeLon Wright could definitely fit in that system. I mean, you pick. I know that draft. I would sell high on him, bro. You need to acquire draft picks and young talent. Maybe you can get a Matisse Thybulle out of it. Who knows?
What? You think so? Yeah, I mean that'd be dope. I don't know. What do you think's the high price for him, Bravo?
So for DeLon Wright, I think you can get like, I don't know, a late first round pick. I mean, it's possible. Why not? The guy is playing good. It's his best season so far, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And he is really one of those players. He's really smart. He's not going to turn over the ball. He knows how to protect the ball. If he's going to shoot the ball, he's going to shoot with high accuracy. He is a good team player. I think this is why you see Dwayne Casey loving him all over him. He's giving him a lot of minutes. But I do like him as a player. I don't think it's necessarily we need to move from him. I think if we keep him in here on the Pistons, I think he's a good player. He's one of those smart players. I truly believe he's also tradable next year. So I don't think we need to trade him this year. But I would agree with Anthony. If you get a good offer, go ahead and do it. You know, you got to sell because it all depends on the offer you get. So if you get someone like a kind of player like Tyrese Maxey, why not do it? If you get like a Matisse Thybulle, I mean, I'd consider it. I don't know about like the other bench. Hey, we think about it right now. We probably need another center, because like we don't have centers, but besides Plumlee, and we might get another center, a young center maybe. Why not? I'd do it.
See, me personally, I'd rather keep.
You know, some Pistons. Yeah.
Well, just because I mean, for all the reasons
I was looking at his contract.
Yeah.
You guys contract? I was looking at his contract. It'd actually be cheaper to trade him and then give Dennis Smith Jr. his qualifying offer. So he's going to make $8.5 million next year for the Pistons. The Pistons can re-sign Dennis Smith Jr. this offseason for $7.7 million if they're looking to shed some salary. And it looks like we lost easy in this live stream. Bravo.
Yeah, the live stream is cutting. Yeah,
it's just lagging out a little bit. I mean, my internet's been shit for the past week. Thanks, Comcast. What do you think about that, though? If you want to shed salary, maybe save $1 million or $2 million, would you rather give Dennis Smith Jr. his qualifying offer and to just sell high on DeLon Wright while he's playing well?
What's Dennis Smith Jr.'s qualifying offer? Like, how much is that?
$7.7 million.
And we can't afford to keep both?
I mean, you could, but you have to take in consideration, let's say the Pistons buy out Blake, right? And you're trying to save as much cap space as possible. I think that's an option you could probably do. And I do think they're going to trade DeLon Wright. I know some fans don't think that, but you have to sell high. We're winning too many games right now. I mean, our schedule is going to get a whole lot easier. And Pistons are only 3.5 games out of that 8 seed. That should terrify some fans.
Yeah.
You should be scared. You're about to be at that 7th, 8th pick again. I doubt you want that. This team is too good.
I was looking at it. So they're further back from the 8th spot, but they're 3.5 games out from the 10th spot where they do like the play-in. Mm-hmm. But I would just pray they lose that situation. I mean, it would suck so bad because I feel like we're one big lottery piece away from being like a contending team. Even though that piece may be a rookie next year. Yeah. I'd rather run it next year. You know what I'm saying? DeLon Wright's such a baller. Like everything you said about him is true, which is why his trade value is high, and that's why I kind of want to keep him because I feel like he can be a winning piece, but we'll see.
I don't think
apparently they want George Hill. Yeah. Apparently Philly wants George Hill too.
Look like?
But I'm just George Hill. I know he's on OKC, but personally, I think DeLon Wright's a better player than George Hill.
Oh, of course.
That's just my opinion. I don't know. You guys might have a different opinion on that. I mean, he used to be a baller. Next season, and he's 34. It would actually be more realistic for Philly if they want it. I'm keeping DeLon perfect backup. I mean, I don't disagree with it, but you're rebuilding. I mean, do you really want to pay him $8.5 million to come off the bench? I mean, you pay Derrick Rose $7 million.
Because it really is just one more year, and it's not. The odds aren't that we're gonna win next year. I just don't want to soil any relationship with him because I'd like to have him back for when we're actually contending because I do feel like he's a great piece, in that recipe.
Yeah. I mean, you got Frank Jackson and Saban Lee too in the pipeline too.
If that happens.
I do. I think he's more of a shooting guard. What's that, bro?
I couldn't. There's a lot of cutting, so sorry about that in the timeline. Yeah. Go ahead and talk. Sorry about that.
I think Saban Lee to me is more a point guard, and Frank Jackson's more of a shooting guard that plays point guard. Like Saban Lee, he tries to dunk on someone. It seems like every time he goes in the game. I don't know if you guys have been watching the games lately. I mean, he tried to end Brook Lopez's career, and then I forget who he tried the other night. I wouldn't even compare him to Russ, man. He's just he's such a unique player. Just the way he can get to the basket and just pass the ball. His passing is probably what surprised me the most from him. But I didn't watch a lot of Vanderbilt games. But I mean, if you want to trade the line, you have Saban Lee. And after his 2-way expires, just offer him a vet's minimum. I mean, bare minimum. The kid is still really young, and he's got a lot of room to develop. I wouldn't be mad at that at all.
It's so crazy the value that we even get out of a player like Saban Lee and how late that he went. I truly trust Troy Weaver to build this team without having to sign a big name free agent because we don't have that luxury, as the Detroit Pistons, as we're sitting in freaking 2 feet of snow waiting for more snow to come down tonight. You know what I'm saying? We need a guy like Troy Weaver to build through the draft and pick up these guys on veteran minimums and bring up their value and sell them high. We should see, man. Jacob Martinson commented, and Robbo, I'll have you answer this one. He said, do you think Sekou Boyle will enhance his new role once Blake is gone? Not now.
Yeah, most definitely. I think he's going to – I think Sekou is probably still kind of come off the bench because he's still he's underperforming compared to other players. Sadiq Bay is really playing out of his damn mind. So he's going to be starting for us. Jeremy Grant. And I think you might really put Sekou in the first bench player who come off the bench is Sekou right now. So he's gonna get definitely improved chances of playing time, and I hope he capitalizes on those because he needs to really play. Because let's face it, Sekou did regress this year. So far, he looks like he's regressed, and I think as part of the problem is he's not playing, and I think it's also mental. We saw what he can do we saw flashes of his highlights last season. He's able to shoot. We saw him in the G League. He plays very well. He's a good player. He's not a bad player, but when you don't play him, he loses confidence. This is what happened to him.
He seems a little bit out of shape too. for me. I mean, he gets winded in a couple of minutes, and the Casey just subs him out if he misses a couple of assignments. But I mean, I think he's going to benefit the most from Blake being on the bench, because once he gets past for that concussion protocol, that kick by that Pacers player was really dirty. He just dragged his foot and kicked him straight in the head. But
I didn't even see that shit.
Yeah, there was a play where he got shoved, and then a Pacer player dragged his foot and kicked him in the head, and he's been in concussion protocol ever since. But I mean, that's what I guess we get for playing Sekou at center. It's too physical for him. Honestly,
I can see him doing a small ball lineup, but definitely I feel like too early at this point, especially because he hasn't really shown any type of consistency. I guess to take on a new role like that. But. That's crazy. I didn't know that happened. I gotta watch that video.
I have it posted somewhere on my timeline, but I kind of spam on my timeline. Good luck finding it.
Yeah, it'll be all good. This is a great point that I seen by Detroit Ghost. He asked if maybe we package Plumlee or DeLon Wright or a second round pick to get rid of Blake. I'd be cool with that since we're talking about getting rid of those guys anyway. But it just depends what we get back, really.
I don't know if they do that personally. I mean, Troy Weaver said we're not in the business to give up players like that. And I know a lot of people, in the beginning of the season, they were talking shit about Plumlee and the $8 million, but you have to admit, he just plays a smart brand of basketball. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He's a really good passer, good rebounder. He'll score a little bit. I mean, I'm not justifying the $8 million, but it's kind of refreshing seeing a center actually play and not complain, because I'm not going to try to take shots at Andre Drummond, but he would complain after every foul call. And I know some people are saying, isn't it funny that Andre and Blake are both sitting out right now until they get traded?
Yeah. I thought I saw someone commented earlier too. I think that is funny. They're both and they're both not really getting sold high either. I think that if you're looking at a Drummond trade, I think you're looking at another second round pick.
Man, if they're lucky, they might salary dump on the team. Personally,
that's crazy because he still holds value. I feel like. I mean, the Cleveland was winning with him for a minute before they grabbed another big man and the guy from Brooklyn, Jared Allen.
Yeah, Jared Allen is leaps and bounds better than Drummond. It's not even close.
Yeah.
Not to mention he's cheaper and he's younger.
Yeah, on the defensive end alone, it's so valuable what Jared Allen provides. Jeff Hall says keep Plumlee. He has heart and is a presence. Honestly, DeLon Wright is a stud. I agree with both those statements. A lot of people like to brag on Plumlee, but he's just a piece. I don't think he's anything more than that. You know what I'm saying? I think people have to look at him a long term versus I guess as a starter. I think they gotta look at him as a piece to. I mean, I think he's gonna come off the bench. We're gonna get another big man.
I mean, Isaiah Stewart starts hitting those threes, he's going to be starting.
Yeah.
I mean, he tried another one last night. It went halfway down, man. I think Troy Weaver, and with them not having NBA combines, I personally think we got to steal an Isaiah Stewart at 16.
Oh my god, yeah.
If you look at the centers above him, Jalen Smith, Onyeka Okongwu. I think James Wiseman is the only exception who's maybe better than him. But, I mean, a lot of people were clowning us. They gave us an F on drafting him at 16.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's just so energetic. The way he just runs up and down the floor, man. I hate to, compare him to Ben Wallace, but I haven't seen that since Ben, Just, that energy and grit and hustle. He just has one speed, and he doesn't give up on plays. And I think a lot of Detroit fans love that about him.
It's Detroit. It's so Detroit. It's a characteristic of our teams and the teams that we've been successful with too. Dating even back to the bad boys before Ben Wallace.
Yeah, Rodman.
I love it.
I remember when.
What were you gonna say, Bravo?
No, I think I agree with what he actually said. I'm actually surprised by his performance this year. He's actually completely took me by surprise. I was scouting him. I remember I didn't really look much into his scouting because I thought he's a late first round pick or even in the after the 25 pick, but we picked him up early and he really completely performed. It gives you an idea. Really, sometimes those draft picks. This is something. The draft is the hardest thing you can really predict sometimes in the NBA because you think these players are going to be really so good, but they're not. In the end, they're not good. A lot of players, they don't really perform to the level of expectations because they're playing in the basketball of the college, and they look like monsters. When they come to the NBA, they look like chickens. So
Yeah,
Devin, everyone thought that was a reach, man. Don't act like that.
I was just gonna say it still was a reach considering the fact that like nobody was really expecting him to go that high. Like he could have sat back and got him, but nonetheless, you made the right pick, and that's all that matters. Especially that late to the NBA draft. I'm one of the guys who truly believes after like the third or fifth pick, it's kind of just such a toss up in the NBA draft with like what you're gonna get as a finished product from these guys.
Oh, I mean that. Yeah.
He kind of reminds me of kind of players like a Draymond Green for the future. He's not a shooter as Draymond Green. He's not a playmaker Draymond Green, but his kind of hustle personality. You want someone like Draymond Green in your team. He's not Draymond. I'm not comparing them both, but I'm talking about the personality. He's more like a Montrezl Harrell kind of player, but he's got the personality of Draymond Green. He's really sharp. He fights for everything. He's got the fighting spirits. He hustles. I love everything about him. Really, he's really like he deserved like to be in the rookie of the top rookies in the NBA. I think this year draft he should be one of them. I think who is the best rookie if you have a conversation. I think him over Sadiq Bay in my opinion right now because I think he's just playing better. Yeah, Sadiq Bay is shooting right now good. He's a good shooter. He's a good offensive player, but this guy is a really good defense player. Completely underdog. I think I put him above Sadiq Bay right now.
I probably would too.
It's fair to say he's more consistent in performance. We're gonna get with him where Sadiq could be a little bit spotty.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw it, but Bleacher Report had their redraft, and they had like all of our guys that we drafted. Like they had Killian at 15 to the Magic, they had Sadiq Bay 25 to the Knicks, and Isaiah Stewart 29 to the Toronto Raptors.
Wow,
I know.
How would they not move up?
I don't know, but like they had us drafting like I'm trying to think who they had at 7. I want to say it was Cole Anthony, Isaac Okoro at 16, and at 19, I think RJ Hampton. It was just like completely off the wall. And I usually respect the guy that does the NBA draft stuff over at Bleacher Report because it's usually pretty accurate and pretty spot on, but he completely just missed that one. I don't see how Isaiah Stewart falls at 29. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Or Sadiq Bay to 25.
Bay. Yeah, that's what I say. Well, how recent is this? Is this before the 30-point game?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I mean, he's a top center in this NBA draft. He's a top 3, top 5 center. Who is better than him? James Wiseman, O'Connell, then who's next? None.
Wiseman's the only one I could say for sure.
I mean, O'Connell is a really good shot blocker. He's a very athletic player. We haven't seen a lot of him, but this guy is also as good as them, I think.
Yeah. Real quick, Bravo, just because you compared Isaiah Stewart to Draymond, I wanted to ask because it popped up and I forgot to. Who are you taking in that fight?
Who thinks is in one of that fight? I think it's Draymond. Because he's the bigger guy. He's the older guy because he's going to always win. Draymond, we've seen something we haven't seen anyone before, which is the trash talk. If we see, and he literally trash talk on the media in front of you. That's what you love about Draymond. Stewart, we haven't seen him on the media doing that yet. He's just trash talking in front of other players, but not on TV. If you see on TV, that's a whole new level.
I think it makes him more of a badass because he's just the fact that he's this spicy as a rookie, man. I'm loving it, man. And the defending MVP's face with Giannis, you know what I'm saying? Like not backing down, like crazy.
Giannis had to bring his brother like a little punk.
Yeah.
Dude, like he's got under the skin of so many people like Montrezl Harrell. Like even Markieff Morris like dapped him up and laughed because he knows Montrezl Harrell is just a punk. Like he's got under the skin of so many people. Like even LeBron flops. He was just like, "Who the hell is this kid?" Like straight up. Like he's just
Zion too. Last night I see Zion getting a little bit frustrated with him too. I love it, man.
I loved it, man. He actually like fought against Zion. He tried to dunk it, and he just let him go. He gave him a hard time. Zion is Zion. He's not going to stop him, but he really managed to do some harm against Zion.
Yeah. I mean, I'm loving it, man. Bay over Stewart, not even question. Yeah, I'm in that same
So let me rephrase what I said. Bay is a more talented for sure. He is a better shooter, better offensive player. But who's the better defender? Stewart is he's holding our team right now if you really play him. So
yeah, I'm not going to go off recency bias. I'm just going to kind of go like throughout the season. Like before that 30-point game, are we really saying that? Like, think about that.
You got to think about
what I'm saying, because like Stewart's more consistent in his performance, like where you know what you're going to get for sure. Where Bay is more of a toss-up. He could be really good for you, or sometimes just some poor shooting nights. But I feel like ultimately the finished product, Bay is going to be. I mean, I think maybe average 20 is a lot, but I like Bay. I like Bay and his upside.
Yeah, I think it could probably give you like once he's like fully developed, probably like 15 to 18 points a game, and play both ends of the floor. Like I've been seeing a lot of like Paul Pierce comparisons among Pistons fans, even Chris Middleton.
Really?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I can kind of see that archetype of like kind of like a two-way forward, just hitting his shots, banging down low, getting to the basket. Who else? Oh yeah, Vincent Jackson. I saw that earlier. That was sad.
Oh yeah, R.I.P. Vincent Jackson. That was rough. Did they ever come out with what officially happened there with him?
No, not yet. I don't think so.
I wanted to read this comment because it made me laugh. Shout out to my man Benjamin Foe. He said, "I ain't go front. Zion almost had 30. Can't stop that fat boy on the court."
The only thing to stop him is a Popeye chicken sandwich.
He just paused, breaking the action. Stewart contained Zion pretty good last night while he was playing. Better than most players can in this league, and he just a rookie. That's the thing with me too. He's just a rookie. Like, wait until he grows into that frame a little bit more. He gets pause by all means, but he's gonna get a little thicker. I feel like, and we may see some more production there from him, on the defensive end, or just being a pest, an annoyance to people when they get in the paint. Isaiah Stewart, he gains more muscle. Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. Or just now saying. R.I.P. Vincent Jackson. Oh, Derrick Rose's mom passed away?
Well, I didn't know that. Really?
I didn't see that. I don't know if they're trolling or not. Never know what those.
I'll be on the MMA streams are always like R.I.P. Joe Rogan. But the people who always do that, they're like, wait, what? What happened? Joe Rogan died? B said, relax, Stewart's okay. This is the thing, though, B. We got him late, and usually late picks for everybody, just such a toss-up in the air to get what we've gotten out of him as a rookie I'm impressed, man. I feel like we could for sure get something. I think he grows in something a little bit more. Just even if he stays the same, man, that's a great pick for us. Bay's averaging 9 right now. You think he will max out at 15?
I think he's probably going to score more than 15.
I said 15 to 18.
Yeah, well,
I said
more.
Average between like 15 and 18. Well, I'm just going on based on like let's say you have Cade and Killian. Like what would Bay be, like a third option? I'm just trying to be realistic. I'm like if he was a first option, like 20 easily. Like he's averaging 9 now, but I mean, like you have to take in consideration like what the Pistons are going to have out on the floor. Like let's say they have like I don't know, Killian and Jalen Suggs or something like that in a backcourt together. Like obviously both of those guys are going to take most of the shots, and you're just going to have Bay, try to cut to the basket and make open threes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Detroit Ghost says, "How we surprised? How is I think he's trying to ask if I was surprised that we got Josh Jackson. I'm not. Well, actually, I am surprised because I think he's a stud. I think even before that, he's number 4th overall pick in the draft. I think he's highly athletic. I mean, I love the signing. Obviously, I didn't know that we were going to get him. It felt like one of those things that's too good to be true. But he's a hometown kid, and it makes it even better. So I'm looking at some of these comments, guys. What?
Is that J-Mo's burner?
Peter Dillon? Yeah, that's not happening.
But they're not going to give us that. I don't think so.
Nah, hell no.
So here's the thing. Here's what interesting I read about the Blake trade. You can trade Blake for teams who have a big contract they want to get rid of, and Westbrook is one of them. I heard also teams like Horford is the other one, and I also heard Kevin Love, like for example, is another option. But we don't want them. I don't want these players, obviously, but that's a scenario that would work. But if let's say for example, if we get Kevin Love and we get maybe a guy from let's say Darius Garland, Kevin Love, and you also get Blake in return. You got a huge contract. That's something could be but I don't think it's going to happen, by the way. But that's an example. I'm throwing an example. You throw in a Kevin Love or either a pick, or maybe I don't think it's going to happen with a pick or a young player. That would be a matching way to trade.
Yeah, I saw a trade. I forget who it was. There's someone on Twitter. They reached out. They sent me a trade machine of Blake Griffin and Svi for Buddy Hield and Marvin Bagley. And I was like, at first I was like, man, he's crazy. And then I'm like, then I think about it. I'm like, salaries kind of match up. Marvin Bagley's dad wants him out of Sacramento. Troy Weaver loves centers. We need a shooting guard. I mean, it makes sense, but I don't know if Sacramento's that stupid, personally.
No, yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
They're going
to
ask for Sadiq Bay in return. Trust me.
Well, probably. I mean, Joe Dumars is in their front office. Who knows? He might do us a solid.
Oh, for real? Is he really?
Yeah, he's a consultant for the Kings front office. So
damn, I did not know that. You know what's crazy? I was looking at like the moves Joe Dumars made outside the 04 team.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, I feel like he's got so damn lucky with the way that team came together, because everything outside of that was terrible. Terrible.
You know what I think happened with him? I think once he got to that peak of success, he stopped kind of trying. Because when you look at like the moves he made, like getting Ben Wallace when he traded Grant Hill, like I think we got Chucky Atkins and Ben Wallace, who were, two good players, but we traded, a former really high lottery pick, and it turned out good. You traded Jerry Stackhouse for Rip Hamilton, and a lot of people are like, how are you going to trade a 28 point per game score for Rip Hamilton? That worked out. You got Tayshaun Prince. I think in the first round, I think he was like a 19th or a 20 or something pick like that. Then you get Sheed because you were just so adamant of getting him to the point where Portland just blocked the number until he did go to Atlanta. You got Sheed. I mean, I think the way he built that team, I don't think you'll ever see that again, personally.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's hard enough to see a team that doesn't have like an all-star. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I mean, like the Chauncey Billups thing. I mean, like signing him in free agency and him just being kind of like a journeyman, being a high lottery pick. I think he was like the fourth pick by the Boston Celtics years ago. And, it turns out he was one of the best point guards we've probably seen in our generation. Because I don't think too many of us are old enough to remember Isaiah Thomas. I know I wasn't. I don't know about you guys.
I'm not. I'll fully admit it, man. Someone has a question for you, Bravo. Detroit Ghost wants to ask if his hip injury is genetic, but I don't know why.
Yeah. So there's a kind of predisposing genetic condition if players have, like it's called femoral acetabular dysplasia, FAH, femoral acetabular dysplasia. It means your femur head is loose, just genetically when you're born. The ligaments, the labrum is loose. So you could be vulnerable to unfortunate kind of injuries like that.
Yeah. And
you're on mute, dude.
You're muted. I don't know what happens with your mic.
Yeah. People are pissed when he traded Stackhouse and Grant Hill at first. Stackhouse took us to a second round and a 50-win season. Yeah, for sure. You muted yourself, I think.
Yo, you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I would have been pissed too, considering those guys and what they've done. Like individually, that shit makes no fucking sense. I feel like he got lucky, bro. I feel like he just didn't know what the fuck he's doing. Everything else outside of that looks like he truly just didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Oh, I know. Like after that, I mean, you can look at drafts. Like you had Carmelo Anthony right there.
Oh my god.
And you got hyped up over, Darko Milicic's workouts like the past like month into the draft.
Carmelo was that fucking guy in college, bro. It's not like he was like a fucking like a guy you missed on, or like, man, made absolutely no sense. That made no sense.
You can kind of see why Pistons fans have a hard time trusting front offices because it's just not Melo. I mean, Kimball Walker was there too, and you drafted Brandon Knight. I mean, Kimball Walker would have been a great pick for the Pistons. I mean, you could go back. I mean, they passed on a lot of great
Josh
talent.
Smith's contract. fucking AI. Chauncey Billups for AI. Like I think if I'm not mistaken, and I'm gonna be straight up. I'm regurgitating something else I heard earlier today. But were we undefeated when we traded away Chauncey? Is that true?
For a little bit, yeah. They went on
that's
a win streak for a little bit, and then I forget who the coach was. It might have been Flip Saunders at the time, and he decided to bench AI. And AI being the diva that he was, didn't like that, and from there it was just like shit. And meanwhile, Chauncey was balling with Melo, got to the Western Conference Finals, and I mean he was smoking Chris Paul, like when Chris Paul was like really young. But I mean, it's just like moves like that where like you look at Joe Dumars' tenure and you're like, man, like if he didn't win that chip in 2004, like who knows?
Yeah. I think he got lucky that the team gelled the way it did.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at some of Chauncey's numbers. Nothing crazy point wise. I'm trying to look at his stats. I'm looking at his career stats because nothing really jumps off the paper for you, but like in his time, like he helped teams win. You know what I'm saying? He was a glue that held a lot of pieces together. I mean, look at Carmelo's career after Chauncey. It wasn't really much.
Yeah, some people have compared DeLon Wright's like impact to like what Chauncey Billups did for Detroit. Like I'm not ready to like have that conversation, but I can see where they're coming from though. I mean, it's just kind of like that veteran leadership, being under control, not making a lot of mistakes. But we kind of got Reggie Jackson for 5 years, so anyone looks better, on paper when we're watching.
Yeah, man, that's such a disappointment. I was really excited when we had Reggie Jackson. I thought he was going to be something dope for us.
Yeah,
just because of what happened with James Harden around that time too. I'm saying we saw him, leave that Thunder team and blossom into what he is today. A little rounder today, but you'll never see another Ben Wallace type player. And man, the 2014, they could have been.
Robert Ory's shot that. Yeah, that Robert Ory shot.
I was sick, bro. I hated him so much, man. It took me a minute to like grow respect for him because they kept winning, so I had to at some point. But after that, I was so pissed. I think we got Darko before Sheed, right? I think that she got traded for what right before the All-Star break, I think, of the 2004 season.
Yeah, I want to say he was in Atlanta Hawk for a minute, and Joe Dumars just pounced on the opportunity to get him because he was in Portland, and Portland just wouldn't trade him. And I think during his time in Portland, he was going to the Western Conference Finals, but Shaq and Kobe were just smacking anyone that got in their way. Personally,
I can't believe we beat them, man. Do you think the Pistons were truly the? I asked this to Matt Barnes too, but do you think the Pistons were like truly like better and outclassed the Lakers? Do you think those back-to-back finals caught up with the Lakers and their body?
Well, I think with
or mix of both, for sure.
The Pistons, I think talent-wise, you would look at the Lakers. Having Karl Malone, even though he was older, Gary Payton, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal. I mean, that was a squad. Like they didn't expect the Pistons to win it all, but the Pistons just played team basketball. I mean, Shaq and Kobe allegedly were having, I don't know, problems. I don't know if Ben Wallace had an interview recently. I don't know if you've ever listened to the Two Bright Guys, but they had an interview with Ben Wallace, and he's just like, I've heard all the rumors. He's like, it's straight up bullshit. Like, we just outplayed them. We were the better team. Like, Chauncey Billups was crossing up Gary Payton. Ben Wallace was just handling Shaquille O'Neal. I mean, he would let him get his, but he contained him. And Tayshaun Prince, to me, I don't think he gets talked about enough because he was the main focal point on defense against Kobe.
And even LeBron, when LeBron was coming to his own, that was the guy that was keen on LeBron was Tayshaun Prince. Don't forget, he could distribute the ball too. So he could be a ball. He was a ball handler for us as well. I love Tayshaun. Loved Tayshaun. No, obviously not here anymore. I had one of my listeners from England. He says, "What's happening? I'm clueless." This is American basketball. I'm see. Oh shit! There's a bunch of comments here right now, man.
Yeah, you talk about that 04. It gets people riled up.
Yeah, man. That what's crazy too is my whole life. I shot the gram, but my whole life we kind of grew up with the Red Wings winning championships, but it wasn't until the Pistons were like affected me and like left the impact. Where like, I'm saying everyone was like out in the fucking streets, like yelling, shooting the guns there and shit like that. Like that, I'll never forget that shit, man. I hope that we get that experience again, whether it's the Pistons or I was gonna say the Lions, but now I'm sounding like I'm crazy as hell.
Yeah. It's funny. I was cleaning my room the other day, and your team's good when fast food restaurants give out bobbleheads. Remember those Arby bobbleheads they had?
Yeah.
I found my old Corliss Williamson bobblehead, and the eyes are all like punched out, knifed out somehow. I don't even know what the hell happened to that thing, but I mean, I remember that for sure.
Wow, simply got smoked. Would you trade Andre Iguodala and Kelly Olynyk? That's not going to happen, man. Those guys, it's fucking crazy. Those guys are like even still more valuable than Blake. Maybe not Iguodala, but I don't know, man. It's crazy how far Blake's fallen from Grace. That was such a dumb trade, though, man.
I don't even know, man. Like, it's so weird because that was a trade I actually did in 2K. Like, I fired it up, their trade machine, and that was an actual trade that they offered was Iguodala and I think Kelly Olynyk for Blake straight up. And I'm like, man, I don't know if the Heat are that desperate, but they're not doing that well right now. If you look in the standings, they're not a top seed this year.
No,
yeah, but no. I mean, that's Jimmy crazy. Butler did get COVID, but I mean, I don't know what's going on with them personally.
How long was it? I didn't see the second half of that. He said so we could buy them out. Iguodala and Olynyk. Yeah, I'm really disappointed in the Heat, man. I thought that they would.
So you guys, do you know that there's a limit on how much we can buy out players? So there's we cannot buy out more than 15% of our salary, and I'm hearing that we cannot really easily buy out Blake Griffin's contract because it will be stretched towards our 15% range.
It depends how much he gives back, though. Like, let's say Blake gives back, I don't know, 15 million. Maybe that would work, but I doubt he's going to give 15 million back to us.
Yeah, I'm curious. Like, how does that work out where you get these guys to agree to give money back?
So here's what we do. You can actually try to waive him and do it that way, but you actually give him a promise he's going to play, especially in Miami. That's an example. When he goes to Miami, he's gonna get his spot. Miami is gonna give him money, and they give us Iguodala. Maybe I don't know. Maybe that's the way to go.
How do you feel about the Horford trade? Because do you think his decline's been a product of the systems he's been in with other big men? I think he's been crowded around other big men, and he couldn't really do his thing. Or do you think he's just on a decline? He's old and
who? Al Horford or Blake Griffin?
Horford.
Oh, I think he's sentimental. He's a really, smart basketball player, much like Mason Plumlee. I mean, I saw a post the other day. He's balling right now in OKC. I mean, he is on the older side, but I think that's one that does match up. Now, I don't know if Sam Presti would do Troy Weavers any favors. That guy has 30 first-round draft picks.
Yeah,
I don't know personally. I mean, I hope Troy Weaver
want to take Horford.
Yeah, I mean, his contract is on the bigger side. I forget where he signed with. Was it Philly? Yeah, I think it was Philly.
Yeah, he signed with Philly. Yeah, so he's $27 million a year. It's a cap hit, and then it's the last year, so up to 2023.
Actually, think about it. Sam Presti is all after picks, right? You guys know about that. Well, what could happen actually, I could see us trading Blake to OKC for Horford, and in return, we do a pick swap. So basically, whatever we land our pick, an OKC pick, we swap our pick with their pick. If they land first, if we land first, they have the right to swap our pick with their pick, which is bad, but that's the way to go, maybe.
Thoughts about a Blake buyout? Yeah, we talked about it, man. We all kind of concluded that not really much trade offers for him, and probably is going to end up in some form of buyout. What up, though, Craig? When was Blake great? That's a good question. I don't think he was ever great. Was Blake ever great, you guys think?
He was good. Yeah, he was a good player.
Yeah. So, I don't know about great. I mean, he was balling. I remember getting triple doubles and shit before we got him. No one want to talk about him being scared of doing Detroit. I don't think that was the case. Sorry, I'm just catching up on some of these comments. Yeah, because the Pistons are done when they paid him to come. The Pistons. Yeah, it was a bad trade, man. I just don't. I guess when we grabbed him, he did look like a facilitator and all that. He had the injury history, and he was really reliant on his athletic ability. And he's only going to age, at that point from when we got him. And we gave up so much to get him. I don't like that trade when we got him just because I like Tobias Harris a lot too. Y'all remember the Allen Houston rule?
Yeah.
Too bad. That's cool. We could have used that with Blake. What's that? What's he talking about?
You know what? That's before my time. Allen Houston was on the Pistons, I think, like in 93, 94. I was about 2. I have no idea what the hell he's talking about.
Yeah, I'm 93 baby, so I don't know either. Y'all remember when we drafted Bonzi Wells and traded him for Aaron Mickey? Oh, that's probably baby.
I remember that name, but I don't remember that trade. But DC say kicked him.
We could have drafted Kawhi Leonard. Oh, he was on the board. We picked before. Who did we draft that year when Kawhi Leonard went?
I could look it up. I forget what draft that was.
Maybe with Drummond or Brandon Knight, maybe? I don't know.
I think you might be right with Drummond. Let's see. Find it.
I'm just looking. My internet's been really shit lately. 2011 draft. So let's see what the 2011 draft was.
So it has to be Drummond or Brandon Knight, maybe. No, Drummond is 2012, maybe.
I think Drummond went 09.
Let's see. Brandon Knight. Yeah, we drafted Brandon Knight at 8.
Yikes. So when people say like picks like that, I can't really like.
Yeah.
Oh, you're breaking up, Anthony. What'd you say?
No, my internet shit. But if you look at the draft, I mean, outside of like Kyrie Irving and Kawhi Leonard, I mean, there's not too many guys that I would rather have. I mean, Kemba Walker, maybe Klay Thompson, Nikola Vucevic, maybe Tobias Harris. I mean, that draft class wasn't too good, personally.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, there's so many picks in between that we can't really like bitch about that. Like the way you like, oh, it's an obvious pick. Like, no, like obviously other teams get like passed on too. I can't believe Markieff and Marcus went back to back. That's kind of crazy.
So what do you guys feel like is going to happen with Blake? You think he's going to be bought out, or is nothing is going to happen, you think, maybe?
Bought out. He's gonna get. I can't see us getting that contract off, man. I just can't see him in a role with anyone. Like the teams that want him, I think is going to be contenders, isn't it? I don't know, man.
So here's the thing: I don't think he's going to join any new contender or any team unless he's bought out. If he's bought out, he could be joining a team, like any team he wants, probably. So that's the scenario. But if he's not bought out, it's really hard to imagine he's going to be traded because, you have to look at a player that at the team that want to really move on from, like a massive contract, or maybe the player they don't like him, or maybe I would agree with the Kings. Maybe they want to move up from Buddy Hield. Maybe that's the way to go. Or maybe I heard that the Hawks want to move up from John Collins, but that's not going to happen. And they're not going to trade Collins for Blake. It's not going to happen. You have to have a scenario like that, maybe.
Shout out to Detroit Ghost for commenting about the Allen Houston rule. He says when you wanted to get rid of a player and it didn't cost against your salary cap. Damn, I wish they brought that back. That'd be fucking crazy right now. I would love to have that. Would you consider Evan Mobley? Even though Stewart looks good? Hell yeah, I would. I feel like Stewart could maybe even play the 4 a little bit.
Yeah, Evan Mobley's just.
Yeah.
I could see him going top 3. I mean, you don't see centers like that too often. Kind of reminds me of Karl Anthony Towns from a few years ago. I mean, you just don't really see centers like that, or like DeAndre Ayton, for example. Like he'll probably go top 3 just because of how dominant he is. But I think the Pistons should go either maybe a wing, maybe a Jonathan Kuminga or a Jalen Green personally. But best player available for me would probably be my strategy for the draft.
I wouldn't really go with. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, brother.
I wouldn't really try to go with the wings. We're already loaded with wings, man. Josh Jackson, Sekou Doumbouya, Jeremy Grant. We have also
Bay, even a little bit.
Sadiq Bay. We got who else? I think we would like to get a shooting guard, point guard, or a center. These are the three positions. Hey, if we move on from Blake, maybe not bad to go with a power forward either. So, but these are the players I probably would consider. I'd consider either Mobley or the top 3 point guards. Kuminga, it's like Sadiq Bay. What's the difference? I mean, we have Sadiq Bay. Kuminga is a good player defensively, but I mean, we have Sekou and Sadiq Bay. Why not going after Jalen Green? He's a shooting guard. He's an athletic player. He could probably fit us better. He might not be a good shooter, but maybe Kuminga is probably a more complete player. I love Kuminga, man. But if you bring him here on the Pistons right now, you're basically killing up like one of the guys' minutes right now.
Well, I feel like one of those guys can move down to a 2. Play shooting guard. Like Josh Jackson could. Sadiq Bay even too, because
they are playing shooting guard. They are playing shooting guard right now. But the point is just if you bring this guy, you're gonna have more jam and at the small forward and shooting guard position. So you're gonna have one of the guys bumped to the bench. We actually need either a center or a point guard in that right now. I don't think we need too many players actually. You might actually just get away with I'd be happy with Mobley really at this point, or maybe like a Suggs or Green. Any of those players would fit us at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because the way the team's constructed, like obviously Killian got hurt and we don't really know what we have yet because I still feel like he's a project player. I think it's going to take him a couple of years to put everything together. And I think the Pistons are still really high on him. But I mean, like if Cade Cunningham, I don't think Cade Cunningham will play point guard at any point of his career. I think he plays more of a forward position or a shooting guard position. To me, he's not really a point guard. He's more of a dual forward. But I mean, if you got like a Jalen Suggs and Killian Hayes backcourt would be really fun to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope Killian comes back, and I hope we get to see his potential shine because it wasn't looking like much before he got hurt. But I definitely understand he's still a rookie and didn't play that many games, no off season. So I'm not like holding it against him yet. But and especially considering these other guys balling out too, Sadiq and Stewart. I'm saying that them showing out, it gives me a little bit more confidence in Killian. But we should see, man. When's he supposed to come back?
March 22nd is when we're going to get the next evaluation to see if his rehab went well. And if it did, you could probably see him on the court pretty soon. But if it didn't, don't be surprised if they do elect for surgery.
Wait, they haven't done that yet? They haven't made a final decision on it yet?
No, they're doing the rehab first to see if, the hip gets better. But with doing that, it's actually going to strengthen the hip. So the surgery would actually, help with that, like rehabbing that hip joint from, being dislocated for whatever I forget. I think it was a dislocation. I mean, there's so many like different, a labrum. It went from like a labrum, from a dislocation, from, I don't even know, man. It's just like,
yeah.
It's weird.
They use the term subluxation, which is a partial dislocation. So that's not a complete dislocation. It's a partial. So that's a medical term. It's not really an accurate one, but that's the term they're using.
Yeah, and I actually want to talk about this real quick too, guys, because we touched on it a little bit, but we are 3.5 spots out of that play-in spot. That's something I necessarily don't want to touch at all. Are you guys I guess opposed to the Pistons, not tanking and playing for the playoff spot this year, or are we all pretty much in the get Cade Cunningham boat?
Fade for Cade.
Fade for Cade.
Tank for Cade. I'm gonna just go. You know what? Because El Kai, what's his name? El Kai, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So El Kai, the problem is, if we're gonna do this, we got a high chance of messing up and missing on the playoff, missing on the play-in season and tournament, and in the end, giving our pick to Houston Rockets for no reason in the end. So why would we? I don't know. It's not going to happen. We're going to get a mediocre pick. We're not going to get a good chance. I might just take the chance and be in bottom 3 at this point rather than like being a mediocre 7 or 8 draft. We never know. The lottery is actually moving these days. So
I mean, like if we do that, we better like Jalen Johnson from Duke, because that's probably who we'll get if we get the 8th seed. Like, no disrespect to Jalen Johnson, he's a good player, but I mean, I personally would rather have a top 3 pick.
Yeah, I think Troy's smart enough too to know that that's what we need to do. I think before. Do you think who was the GM when we pushed for the playoffs that one year, made the 8th spot just to get our asses beat by the Bucks?
Yeah,
Jeff Bauer.
Yeah, like that was disgusting. Do you think that was a push from Gores, or do you think that was like they truly thought they? What the fuck was that? I have no clue. They had no business doing like trying to make the playoffs that year.
Gores thought it was a playoff team when it wasn't. I mean, fans knew it wasn't. I mean, some fans fans hate losing, and I'm with them. Like, you hate to lose games, but the writing was on the wall. Like, that team is constructed like it was. I was actually having a conversation with a buddy of mine. He's just like, bro, look at the Clippers. All they're missing is Tobias Harris and Andre Drummond, and they could run the 2016 Pistons. I'm like, man, that's funny as hell. Because they got Marcus Morris, they got Reggie Jackson, they got Luke Kennard. Oh, Luke Kennard didn't get drafted, but I mean, like, they have so many Piston players, which is really funny to me.
Well, I mean that was the one year we made the playoffs, and I was like, damn, like
Yeah.
I felt or something, you know.
So the other thing is Elkai is mentioning is the top 3 pick is not That's true. But here's the thing: this year's draft is a lot better than last year. Let's face it. If you're gonna get a top 5, top 6 picks, top 6 pick in this year, that's a lot better than really playing in. And so here's the thing: we're looking at getting a top 6. This is at worst. Well, at best, if you make the playoff, or let's say play in a tournament, who are you gonna play? You're gonna play the Bucks. They're gonna murder us in the playoff. You're gonna play any team in the playoff. We're not gonna be matching to them. You can just try to win a game or two, maybe that's at best, but you can be just a mediocre game. So we're not gonna read to a much of a huge difference for us. I mean, it's a good experience for the playoffs for the players, but again, why would you really just want to make a playoff and then again get completely destroyed by that team and just getting murdered in the end as just basically nothing? So I don't know if we really need to do that. We're doing good as a team right now, as losing and beating the best teams in the NBA. And I think we got a chance in being better if we get a top 6 pick this year.
Yeah, I feel like these 4 names too. Shout out to Michael, but Cade, Kuminga, Green, and Mobley. I feel like they're all worth the opportunity of getting one of them. I feel like they'd all contribute to our team and take us a lot further than making the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to agree with Bravo. I mean, like, even if you don't get a top pick, you're still getting a really good prospect. Like I can't even remember the last time we got a top pick. Like, what, Darko? It's probably the last time we got like a really good draft pick.
I think you might be right.
The best draft pick we got is Drummond this past whole 20 years probably. So far, I don't think there's a better player than Drummond who made All-Stars a couple of times. Name me who's a better player right now than Drummond.
Out of our draft picks?
Yeah, no one.
Yeah, no.
KCP just won the championship with LeBron James. Is not even an All-Star. It's just. So let's face it. You want to get a good player in this draft. I know the draft can be a bust. It can be not a good, but this year draft is really highly effective. I heard. So this is really a draft you want to tank for. That's what I'm hearing.
Jalen Johnson just opted out of Duke basketball. That's crazy.
He knows he's getting drafted, so that's probably why he did it.
On that, I agree, Elkai. I think I trust Tweever getting us a better quality player, a mid-tier pick. I think it's true. But hey, how are you going to prove we're going to get a mid-tier pick? I mean, if we get if you play in the tournament, we actually could lose our pick to the Houston Rockets, right?
It's top 16 protected, so I think they would have to be at least a 6 seed for us to lose that pick. So even if you make the play-in tournament, you still get to keep your pick.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
how you guys feeling with Casey after the performance this weekend with our young players? You guys still in the fire Casey boat, and especially after Naboya getting some minutes and not looking so great, are you giving him a bit more of a pass because we were beating on him earlier in the season, for not playing Sekou, but after seeing Sekou on the floor and not really impressive in those minutes, and then the wins this weekend, are we still on the fire Casey train, or where are you guys at with that? Actually, Bravo, I'll let you start on this one, man.
I would love to give us the stock talk first. You go first.
Like, when I personally fire him, I wouldn't do it unless a top coach becomes available. And I don't really think you're getting a Mark Jackson. I don't think you're getting Jerry Stackhouse to leave Vanderbilt. If anything, I mean, Lloyd Pierce is probably going to get fired from the Atlanta Hawks. Do you want a Lloyd Pierce? I mean, I don't think I would. I mean, just ride it out with his contract. There's 2 more years left, and then you can kind of figure out what you want to do. I mean, if anything, Casey's going to get us a top pick because he knows rotations are going to screw up some games anyways. You might as well just accumulate talent while you can. I mean, there's like no sense of urgency to win. And that's what makes this year fun, you know? Like when we win, like it's so unexpected. Like when we beat the Lakers, I think all of us were hyped, you know? Taking LeBron to a double overtime like the next week. Like this team is so bad, but it's so fun at the same time.
They're so fun to watch. They're so competitive for no goddamn reason. Like, these games are not supposed to be like this close at any point. Like it's wild. But where you at, Bravo? Because the tides kind of switched a little bit for me. I found myself, I was driving home today thinking about, like, I can't believe I'm questioning it right now. Like, because I was so set on firing him.
It's weird. You know, at the beginning of like first 10 games of the season, this is like game 19 right now, I think, or game 17. And the first 10 games, I was really on the train of firing him because I'm like, I'm still don't want him. He's not playing our rookie right. He's not giving Sekou enough minutes. But now, I mean, we are in a situation. I can see the Pistons like when we actually today and actually the last few games and today, the Blake decision is a huge part of this really decision to fire Casey or not. Because since they move off, like they decided to really sit Blake right now, we will see what Casey does. You know, if he gives Sekou Doumbouya some minutes, give them decent playing time and give them really a good look, then why not? I think you probably want to really keep him for the rest of the season. And even if he's really doing better, maybe the season after. The point is, I'm not really a fan. I'm not really at the same time want to fire him. I agree with Pistons Talk. I mean, who are you going to bring in here? You know, the only guy I like right now is probably Kenny Atkinson or Umi Udoka. But Casey is really adding some of the stability to the team, and I think he's a decent leader on the team. And actually, he beat my favorite the coach Stan Van Gundy. He beat him too. So why not? Just keep him for the rest of the year, at least.
For sure for the year. Like, I think for sure for the year, just because like if his rotations continue to kill us, then like that benefits us in the lottery. But yeah, I mean he's kind of turned the tide. Anthony, you getting ready to say something?
Yeah, I mean like people are like harping on Kenny Atkinson, but I mean he's under contract with the Clippers for a while. I mean, I doubt. Like, if you think about it, the Clippers have like an all-star level like coaching staff. Like they have like Chauncey, they have Chauncey Billups, Kenny Atkinson. I forget. They might still have. I can't think of his name right now. Latrell Springwell. I'm not 100% sure if he's still on their coaching staff, but I mean, like they have like such a good coaching staff. But I mean. I honestly don't really see a need to fire him. I mean, like, if you just want to fire him for the sake of firing him, I'm like, what are you doing as an organization, you know?
Yeah.
Like today's a Wednesday. Fuck it. You're fired.
Yeah. Like, it would be like Trader Jack when he used to just, like, trade people. Like, he would get rid of coaches, like, every year, like, during the Bad Boys before he found Chuck Daly. I mean, he would fire coaches, like, it seemed like every other year. Like, there's no structure there, you know?
Yeah, I feel so silly too because I was so set on like, yeah, this dude's like trash, but now I'm like, oh fuck. Especially after seeing Sekou on the floor and then not like how he's kind of been sold to us by the fans a little bit. Like I fell into that batch of Kool-Aid for a minute too on the Sekou train, but I mean he's still so young though.
Yeah. So the other coach I really like on the NBA, I think if you want to bring someone, I like the Golden State Warriors, Mike Brown, assistant coach. No, the Golden State Warriors play a different kind of brand of basketball than the rest of the NBA, dude. All of them like move at the same time. All the players keep moving around. They just play with really kind of different games. So that's what I like. I like the Spurs obviously because they're a good defensive team. The Boston's a good defense coaches down there. But if you really want to pick the Clippers or the Golden State Warriors assistant coaches, I think the Golden State Warriors have a really nice system. I mean, if you ask me, Mike Brown, I take Mike Brown. I'll be happy with him too.
What about Nate McMillan? That was one name I was waiting to hear from one of you guys. I didn't hear that one.
So I don't know. Is it really? Let's ask us this question. Is it Nate McMillan who made the Pacers, or is it the Pacers are really a good organization?
That's fair.
I think
We
it's a
know
little of
history
both.
too, right?
It's a little of both to me.
It's not. This year, the Pacers are really in the playoff, and they're really a good organization. They are a good team. Nate McMillan is good, but I think he's almost like a kind of Casey kind of coach. And I don't see a huge difference between Nate McMillan and Dwayne Casey. He might be a smarter coach. He's a younger guy, obviously, than Casey. Casey's got more experience. But if you ask me, I take Mike Brown. I take a guy like maybe Kenny Atkinson over them. But I don't know, McMillan. This is how I feel about him, and I don't know he's going to add a huge difference to Detroit when he comes here, because the Pacers are just good for who they are right now.
Yeah, with Goras, he doesn't kind of like mess around. Like Goras has always wanted like a top tier coach. Like I remember when we had Maurice Cheeks here, he really wanted Tom Izzo. Like he a lot. Like he was willing to give Izzo the bag, and Izzo wouldn't leave Michigan State like at all. Like Gores always goes after like these top tier coaches like Van Gundy, Casey. Like he's probably not gonna like hire someone that's unproven and has like an unproven track record. Like I don't know, maybe Portland fires Terry Stotts. He'd go after him. Like a guy like that. Like I would be perfectly fine with the Terry Stotts if Portland ever decided to get rid of him. I mean, he's a great coach. He's been around the game of basketball for a long time. But I mean, I think I would just wait until like a top coach becomes available. Like I don't really know.
What do you think about it, Easy?
With like what coach would like to replace him in that scenario?
Right now. We gotta put you on the hot seat.
To get rid of him or to replace him?
You talk about Casey in general and the alternative coach for the Pistons.
So that's why I wanted to ask you guys, because I was just so like confused, because like I was so ready to fire him, but then like I said, we saw the performance by Sekou, and then we saw these other young guys like actually showing up. So like we can't blame that on Casey, because obviously there's young guys in this team producing in their minutes. So it just made me question everything a little bit more. I will say though that I feel like he's had pieces to win in the past, not necessarily a championship, but to do more than he did when he had Blake and Drummond and Rose. Like, and I'm not saying these guys are world beaters or anything like that, but I expected more out of that than like struggling for an 8th seed in the Eastern Conference. You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't know that he's so much the guy going forward, but you know what? I say at the end of the year, you have every reason to get rid of him if we're not in the playoffs. I mean, obviously we're not going to be in the playoffs, but I think it's okay to move on. And I'm not necessarily a big guy with coaches in the league in general. I think talent drives this league more than anything.
Mm-hmm. Who do you think is alternative coach you like?
I like McMillan, but after seeing the Pacers as a 4 seed now, granted they're barely 500 in the 4 seed. The Eastern Conference kind of is nasty, but
yeah,
I really, like I said, I really could give less of a fuck for real, just because like if the talent's there, that's when you're gonna start seeing shit change. Yeah. Even with the only coaches I really respect in that light, I'm like, we have to get him, is like Greg Popovich or like guys who've done like more with less. But truthfully, it's a talent league. If you don't have a fucking lottery pick, a star-studded guy, you're not really doing shit.
Yeah, like I mean, if they were gonna replace Casey, like I know Doc Rivers, a lot of people think he's overrated and he's a bad coach, but I mean, Philly gave him the bag. Like, I mean, even Philly's assistant coaches, like they have Mike D'Antoni. Oh no, I'm sorry, Mike D'Antoni's in Brooklyn, but I mean, I think that guy from the Spurs that you mentioned, Bravo, Udoka, he used to be assistant coach on the Spurs. I mean, he's a really good development coach. I mean, you look at what San Antonio's done with development. He's a big reason why so many other players with the years gotten developed. But I mean, the Popovich tree is kind of like kind of like Budenholzer, but he's kind of a fraud when it comes to the playoffs. He doesn't know how to make any kind of adjustments. Udoka, Lloyd Pierce, who, like I told you guys, I heard on a podcast today that he might get fired from the Hawks. So Nate McMillan might take over as for that job. But I mean, I don't know. It's such a touchy subject because I like Casey. I like what he brings. I like how he, I don't know if you guys saw it, but apparently Casey literally sits down with Josh Jackson and they watch film together because Casey really believes in Josh Jackson. And he's spending so much, kind of like what he did with Christian Wood last year. Like, because Casey knows that Josh had kind of a past in Phoenix where he got a DUI and, kind of did some stupid shit off the court. But Casey's kind of like taking him under his wing. Is kind of like, like a father figure looking out for him. And I think that's something that a lot of people kind of like brush aside. Like he'll spend time with these kids and like really look after them and make sure that, they're getting the practice on time and, just check on them. And like, it's like a basic human being. I think that's one thing about him that I respect the most out of. I know it doesn't like really translate to the wins, but like just him as a human being, that's what I like about him the most.
That's a great point. I mean, at this point, get someone who'll get the guys to band together.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly you don't want to get someone. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. As well as Casey.
Certainly you don't want to get someone who is a completely veteran favorite coach. You don't want to get someone like that. Like Tom Thibodeau is not a favorite coach for us. He's gonna go for veterans players. So he's a good coach. He's a good coach, but I don't think like SVG also too. He likes veteran players. I mean, even Budenholzer, he loves veterans. So I wouldn't really like to get coaches like that. I'd like to get Udoka, Mike Brown. I think I mentioned my players, Kenny Atkinson, the coaches. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, you're good, bro. You're bro. Keep going.
Yeah, so that's my point. That's all I wanted to say.
Well, shit, I have had you guys here an hour. If you want to get going, we can definitely wrap this one up. Real quick though, because someone did comment on this. Do you think Jackson blossomed because of Casey at all, or do you think it's more of him maturing and taking the game a bit more serious?
If you look at his career, he's like kind of like a 12-point per game scorer, and he was tearing up in the G League in Memphis last year, and then he was kind of when he did play in Memphis. He was doing pretty well, but I think that is something Casey can get credit for because I was looking his like past 4 games, he's averaging 21 points a game. I mean, the fact that you got him on such a cheap deal and you're taking, flyers on guys that were high lottery picks, but maybe they have some troubled past or teams have given up on them. I think Casey can implement that with Dennis Smith Jr. as well. I think he should get credit for that.
What about you, Bravo?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Pistons Talk here. I think Casey, when he loves the player, he develops them right. That's what I noticed. DeLon Wright previously, Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, and now you see it with Josh Jackson. You saw it before with Bruce Brown. He loved Bruce Brown. He gave him good minutes. He was playing good. So when Bruce Brown got traded, he's a good player. He's now playing on the Brooklyn Nets. So I think it's just part of it as Casey has an effect for sure on those players. But again, Casey has a negative effect on other players. I don't want to mention the names. You guys know very well. So he plays favorites players, and he shouldn't be doing that, And I hate the fact that those Piston fans go, this guy is a bum, this guy is trash, and this guy is very good. No, you don't see the real picture. You just when you see it, the player doesn't perform in front of you. It doesn't mean they're trash. It doesn't mean they're bum. No, you really give them a good look. You guys saw Sekou Doumbouya last year. He was not a bum. He was not a trash. We saw flashes of his junk. One of the best dunks in the NBA last season he got against Tristan Thompson. Is that a bum? No. So you need to give him a really decent chance, decent look. Trust the player. And the fact that he's not even getting the ball and dribbling and giving enough ball handling in the Pistons team right now, it means I'm concerned about him. He's not going to be good. And in reality, eventually he will turn into a real bum if he doesn't really perform very well and Casey doesn't give him any trust. So that's the point. You stand with your team. Don't call our players as trash. You can call whatever you want. This is a free United States of America. It's freedom of speech. But again, you gotta have to just be careful about what you say because other people will take on your decision on what you say also.
Tell him, Bravo.
Oh man, I agree 100% with you, Bravo. I mean, that's some of the comments I get on my Instagram about like Casey being a bad coach. And there was a quote from him the other day saying that a rebuild needed to happen about 2 weeks ago. He's like, it needed to happen for some time, and fans didn't like that. They were telling him to shut the fuck up and you're a bum. You're the reason why we suck. It was just like I could coach circles around you, you stupid pig. It's like so many people are just like so infuriated that the Pistons are in the situation that they're in. And I mean, when Casey came here, he inherited a really bad roster that, frankly, I think overachieved. I think they were always going to be an 8 seed, and I think they were always going to get swept because they didn't have, the talent around them to be a serious playoff contender. And now he's actually having a chance to, just develop like young talent, like people mentioned, like Sadiq Bay. Sekou Doumbouya, not as much. I think Sekou will get a lot of time now that Blake is going to be sitting out, and I think people should pay attention to how Sekou plays, because I think Sekou is just going to have a weight lifted off of his shoulders because he's like, well, Blake is on there. I'm not going to play. Sekou is going to get guaranteed bench minutes now. I mean, there's no one else you're really going to – there's no one you're going to put above Sekou at that backup 4 spot. I mean, you're going to have Jeremy Grant, and Sekou will back up Jeremy Grant because the Pistons value Sekou as a power forward, not a small forward. And if that's the case, just back up Jeremy Grant. I'm 100% fine with that.
Yeah, I'm excited too to see what he becomes and what his role is, because like it's been a big question mark for me. I've been paying too much attention to Sekou like everyone else. Everyone else tries to tell me the fact that he's a star, and I know how fans get sometimes. You know what I'm saying, fans are overhype people who are like, I mean, Bruce Brown's a perfect example of that for me. People are like overhyping Bruce Brown. To me, he's nothing more than average and a hustle guy in defense. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, we're going to find out now. You know what I'm saying? There's no other choice but for Sekou to see some minutes with Blake both sitting and hopefully moving on.
And I'll say one more thing. Sekou did regress this year. He's not as the same sharp player as last year. So if you want to call him like a bad name, he's just regressed because of the fact he's not a confident player. He's not really complete bomb like you guys are calling him. Some of the people are calling him. He's a good player, but he lost a lot of confidence. So he did regress. The fact that he's not playing minutes has just hurt him. So now I think still the Sekou is still not trusting him so much. And I don't know if he's going to get a lot of minutes like Pistons Talk is saying. He might get more extended minutes, but I don't know if he's going to get more than 15 minutes a game. I doubt it. We will find out once he starts playing.
I hope, man. I hope.
I mean, 15's better than 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like 5 minutes. I mean, I'll take, people, well, he's not a good player. What finished product of Sadiq Bay looks like. Like, some people want to call him a star player. I'm not going to be one of those people. Some people call him, Pascal Siakam 2.0. I don't think he's going to be a Pascal Siakam 2.0. I think they're similar players, but I think Sekou has a higher floor personally. I think, if you develop him, he could be a really special player. I mean, he was one of the best international players in France as a teenager. I mean, the guy just picked up a basketball at 13, 14 years old or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, give him some time. I mean, he's going to develop now that Blake's going to be sitting on the bench. I'm not going to hype up and say he's going to be like an MVP like some people, but I think he can be a rotational piece at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And hey, if he develops into something even farther, then we can have those conversations. But for right now, he's only in his second year. To call him a bust or a bum, it's kind of premature.
Yeah. How do you guys feel about? Yeah.
No, I was just saying he's only 20. I feel like if anything, too, just because of the athleticism, I at least want to see some progression on defense. Because I feel like that could be shown in effort and hustle, and like I said, he's athletic enough to make plays. So let me see some heart at least, on that side of the ball to give me some more confidence. What were you gonna say though, Bravo?
Yeah, I was totally agree. That's what I said. But I was about to ask you guys, how do you guys feel about the second this last game with Dennis Smith Jr.? He really showed some flashes. He's able to pass, and what do you guys feel about it?
Did you guys see that picture I posted?
No.
Of Kyra Lewis had the ball, and Dennis Smith had his hand like this to smack the. Everybody on that team was bullying Kyra Lewis last night. It was like pick on Kyra Lewis day. Like Josh Smith blocked him so hard, and then he wanted to talk shit over it. I mean, like
I saw that.
I didn't know Dennis Smith had that kind of aggression on defense. Like
I didn't either, man. I think
all these Knicks fans. I don't know.
I think it was.
I don't even know. Okay,
when he got traded, he was like, "Oh, can you hear me?"
Yeah, I can hear you.
You said
I went out for a minute.
No, you went out. Yeah, you did go out for a minute. All right, cool. I think he was watching those Bad Boy documentaries once he got over here while he was in quarantine with his girl. Remember? That might be it.
I mean that bro, he like Kyra Lewis, like that was a player that a lot of us like were like open to drafting with our draft pick. But man, like he was just body like Kyra Lewis looked like that little kid that like you steal the basketball like when you're like on a elementary court. And Dennis Smith was just the bully like stealing the basketball, man. Like I love to see it though, man. Like just him being aggressive. In the second game, he's looking more comfortable out there.
Yeah. Yeah, what's going on? Because I know there's a the game against the Spurs is postponed. When are we going to see these guys again?
Whenever the next game is. I guess the COVID is on the Spurs side. So
okay.
Yeah, so it's not on our side. I was watching Johnny Kane, who works for Fox Sports Detroit. He said on his Instagram stories that it's from the Spurs side, so it's not on the Pistons side, thank God. So I don't know when the next time we play is. I'd have to check my phone. I'm not 100% sure, but that's probably the next time we'll probably see them play. We'll probably just.
I'm surprised there hasn't been more COVID cases out of like the Florida and Texas teams. It's kind of blowing my mind a little bit, actually. They're fighting in the comments, man. But we look it up the next time they're playing.
Yeah.
What was that?
They play the Mavericks on this. They play the Dallas Mavericks on the 17th.
Yeah, on Wednesday.
Guess we don't have a back-to-back. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Fuck. Well, I wanted them to lose, so maybe they beat the Mavs.
And Luka's going to drop 40.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, for sure.
Nobody's going to stop him.
Well, I gotta do my buddy a favor. He's overseas and he's supposed to be doing an interview with a guy here, so I have to text him for him. Right. I do appreciate you guys taking time out of your day. I'm sorry if I was a little bit off the game. My phone's blowing up. I don't know what the hell's going on Instagram right now. Oh, it's Jalen Rose's mom.
I thought she passed like a year ago.
I'm not sure.
I could have swore I thought she passed a year ago. But that sucks if she actually did it. I think she was like over 100 or something like that.
That is crazy. Hey, Bravo, man. When you gonna get a YouTube channel, man? Because you've been on fire lately. I was listening Saturday night. You were on fire Saturday, bro. When you dropping a YouTube channel?
I'm not. I do have a YouTube channel actually, but I don't really like post videos. So it's just it's too much of a really time consuming, and I just love coming here with you guys. So pretty much that's what I like to do.
For sure, man. Well, I appreciate you doing that, man.
Yeah, I'm just here for the fun. I'm not really for the viewers and stuff. Well, I would respect the viewers obviously, but I don't want to get like for my own channel. I'm just here for the supporting of the people and enjoy the comments with you guys. So.
I feel like if Bravo had his own channel, he'd be snapping on listeners, bro.
No, like if the Pistons played bad and Sekou got 1 minute, I would lie. I would so listen to that rant video.
I was waiting for J-Mo to come out with a video because he was the one guaranteeing that the Pelicans were going to lose.
Oh, because Alonzo?
Yeah.
Man, Lonzo was getting clapped by DSJ.
But Lonzo played really well, man.
Oh, yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah,
He's shooting amazing.
Yeah, no. I mean, LaMelo's playing better to him, so, Lonzo's got to step up his game.
I'm gonna wrap this one up. Anthony, do you have anything you want to say? And by the way, guys, too, if you guys fuck with Pistons Talk and everything, he's got to say he covers way more Pistons content to me. On the ball too. He actually's he got the ends with some reporters, man. He's first to report a lot of news. If you guys haven't already, follow him on Instagram. But everything for him is actually in the description below. So feel free to hit that link and subscribe to him. You got anything coming up, reviews that you're dropping, Anthony?
No, not yet. I was trying to get an interview with James Edwards III of The Athletic. I'm trying to get him to come on the channel. Just talk some Pistons and stuff like that and what to expect for the trade deadline. So hopefully he answers the DM. So that would be pretty exciting.
That would be awesome, man. You know what's crazy? For me, it's been because I obviously have some guests on my show too. It's been easier to reach out to the athletes with like thousands and millions of followers than it's been to like get a hold of some of these reporters, man. It's blown my mind.
All right.
I appreciate you guys. I'm gonna wrap the broadcast.
All right.
I'll see you guys.
All right. Later.